好，那就是很感谢大家今天来参加我们4月份的独立游戏开发者分享会。那也是很难得这一次邀请到节奏医生的其中一位开发者。那他其实是2017年的时候就来过台北一次哦。那来台北去到那个台北游戏开发者论坛参展。好，那这次就是过了几年之后，游戏终于出了，然后出了几个月，现在成绩很好。那就是大家可以跟他挥个手，就这应该看得到。
Hey, hey everyone.
对，那
Thanks for coming.
好，那就请这个掌声欢迎这个 Hafiz。
All right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Thanks for having me here.
Okay, so let's start with just an easy, simple self intro. Like some people may know your game, but may not know you at all. So maybe have a self introduction.
Okay, sure. Hi everyone. My name's Hafiz. I'm the co-creator of Rhythm Doctor and A Dance of Fire and Ice. That means like I used to do the coding, the music, the game design. But these days I focus more towards the game design and the music.
好，那
So and Rhythm Doctor and A Dance of Fire and Ice are one-button rhythm games. So like we focus only on rhythm games.
Okay, so I will translate that. 对，那Hafiz 他是就是 Seventh Bit Games 的开发者之一。那他之前有在就是做的工作有包括就是音乐，然后写程式跟游戏设计都是他亲自来做。那他目前这几年比较 focus 在就是就是比较聚焦在纯粹的这个游戏设计的这部分。那其他的部分他就是可能交给队友做这样子。那他之前有做过一款游戏叫做这《冰与火之舞》和《Dance of Fire and Ice》，然后现在就是2个月前才上市的那款游戏叫做《节奏医生 Rhythm Doctor》。Okay. So I guess I will start with some of your like game development backgrounds, or like how did you started like jumping into indie development? So
Okay.
may I ask about what was your journey going into indie development? Like what was your major in university, or like what school did you study, that kind of thing? Can you give a simple background? Yeah.
So actually at university I studied engineering, so I didn't do anything related to game design. I studied engineering at Cambridge in the UK. But actually my journey into game development was kind of parallel to that. So like I started making games when I was about 9 years old. When I was 9, I found this tool called Game Maker. So like back then it was called Game Maker. Now it's called Game Maker Studio. Back then it was like Game Maker 6, I think. And I would make games and then I would put them on a floppy disk, and then I would come to school and I'll share them with friends and stuff like that. Like they were really small games, but that was how I first started like trying to make games. And then I kind of forgot about it for like 10 years. And then during university, I started having the feeling that I want to try making one game. So then that was how I started again.
Okay, so the process. So the progress kind of like stopped from like maybe you're in between your like middle school, high school, that you just didn't touch it.
Yeah. Because I think I just lost interest. Like you know when you're a kid, you just like you do whatever is interesting. And then I was like doing Game Maker for like 1 or 2 years, I think. Like every day I would hang out on the forums. I was like 10 or 11 years old. Like I would hang out on the forums, I would give reviews to other people's games, I would post my own games. But like I was really young, so like I didn't really know how to type properly, and like you could tell I was a kid. So like after like 1 or 2 years, like I just stopped and I just did other stuff for a while.
Actually, that's a very good intro to this, because we do have a like 10-year-old here in the background. So.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
Hello,
So I think that's a very good inspiration. So I'll try to like translate the gist of what you just said. 就是 Hafiz 他在9岁的时候就那时候就已经有 Game Maker 这个套装软体，然后他就已经就是大概花了1-2年的时间在用 Game Maker 做一些小游戏，然后会去 Game Maker 的讨论版上面可能跟别人分享自己做了什么，或是说把自己的游戏做完，然后就 用磁片抠到学校，然后分享给同学这样子，然后他可能会去论坛上面评论别人的游戏之类的。好，那他是到大学的时候，因为就是读了这个工程电机相关的科系，然后可能那个时候就是从小学到国中、高中这段时间，其实他大概就是只有一开始的时候有稍微碰一下 Game Maker，然后他到大学的时候，然后才重新又开始想要就是就是这个做游戏的这个想法才又重新燃起这样子，然后所以接下来我们就可能继续问他后来发生什么事情。So when you were studying in Cambridge in UK, so did you grow up in UK or did you like go to UK for the university?
Yeah, no. So I grew up here in Malaysia.
Okay.
And then I only started to go to UK for A levels, which was when I was about 18 to 19, I guess. Yeah, and then I stayed there for A levels, and then I went to university there. Then I came back after.
I see. So what was it like when you were studying engineering in UK? Like, did you find like maybe friends or classmates there that are also into game development, or like
yeah,
were you
actually?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, no. So none of my classmates were making games, but something that's interesting is that over there in Cambridge, there was also something called Cambridge Indies. So it's like an indie meetup. I guess just like this one,
Right.
But for the location of Cambridge, and there were actually a lot of like pretty popular indie game designers there. So I was able to meet them. People like, do you know Stephen Sausage Roll?
Yeah, I've heard the game.
It's a
puzzle very
game.
very hard puzzle
so
game.
like he used to be there.
Oh.
And then I met some other like fairly popular people in the indie space, and that was really inspiring. Like I only went to like 1 or 2 meetups, so like I would finish my lectures and then I would go there, and then I would like just code for the rest of the day with them in a cafe.
Okay.
And then like sometimes I talk to them. Yeah, it was really nice. So that was like my indie community experience while I was there, I guess. Whereas for my friends in the same course, they didn't do game development, but it was nice to just have them playtest my games and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. So that was like about 10 years ago, 10-ish? Like maybe 2000...
what, in university?
Yeah. Like
No, that was like
2008?
I graduated in 2015, so like 6 years ago, 6 to 8 years ago, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so less than 10 years ago. Nice.
Yeah, less than 10 years.
Okay, so I'll translate that. 就是他在英国剑桥那边念大学的时候，就是念就是电机跟工程相关的。但是其实他那个时候的朋友还有同学，其实并没有很多人，就是应该是他的朋友圈里面还有同学圈里面，可能就是没有人在做游戏开发跟游戏设计。但是那个时候在英国的剑桥有，就是像我们现在台北这边很多社群一样，就是他们那边有一些独立游戏开发社群，可能在大概2010年初期，就是也是有很热络的活动。那他就是在课余的时间就会去参加这样，然后从那时候就认识到，当时其实有些还蛮有名的开发者，包括像他刚有提一个例子是那个就是 Stephen Sausage Roll 是一个滚香肠的解谜游戏，非常的难。那如果这边应该有蛮多人玩过，那至少没有玩过的话，应该有听过这款。那如果没有玩过的话，可以去 Steam 上就是查一下，就是然后大概3、4年前还4、5年前，有小红过一阵子的解谜游戏这样子。对，那他下课的时候就是会去跟这些开发者，就是他还是学生身份，但是他会去跟这些开发者交流，然后去交换一些知识，或者说跟他们学习。那他自己做的一些游戏成品，可能就是回去学校，然后就给同学试玩这样。就是同学虽然没有参与游戏开发，但是他可以就是作为一个局外人的身份，就是去帮他测试游戏，或者说看他游戏做的好不好玩这样子。Okay, so so you graduated in 2015, and when did the IGF thing happen?
Okay, so that happened actually while I was in university.
Okay.
So like that was 2014. So like that was my first time visiting the US actually. Okay. So what happened was like I was working on this game called rhythm doctor. So like I would work on it during the summer holidays. So like in Cambridge, like the workload is just way too much. So like I basically can't work on it at all during the term.
Right.
So like between terms, I can like kind of work on it a little bit. And then so like I started with an online demo, and then like some people liked it. And then we kind of slowly grew, like we added more levels and then let people play. And then in 2013, at the end of it, like I learned about this thing called the IGF. So like apparently it's a competition where like anyone can submit their game, and for students back then it was free. I think now it's not free anymore, but back then, so like back then there was no harm, you know. So like even though I thought like, you know, there's no way we're gonna get any kind of nomination because like, you know, we don't know like games at all. But like since it was free, like I thought, why not, you know? So I just submitted it, and then like I totally forgot about it because like I was so 100% sure that like nothing would come of it. And then like 2 months later in January, I was looking at the game demo, you know, the stats, right? There's something called stat counter. It's like it gives you your stats for how many page visits your demo gets. And then suddenly like there's a huge spike,
platform?
like, you know, like 1,000 people came.
Do you remember on which platform?
1,000 people. Sorry?
Do you remember on what platform that you got all the demo accounts?
Yeah. This was just on Dropbox. So
like,
just
on Dropbox. Okay.
Yeah. So like I put the HTML on the Dropbox, and then that was my link. So like when I submitted to the IGF, like I just put the Dropbox link.
Right. Okay.
But it was like but it was like a HTML, you know. So like you could actually go on it. You don't have to download it, and then it would play the because actually back then Dropbox. So like there was the normal Dropbox where like you can share files, but there's also the direct link Dropbox. So like if you change the URL a bit, you can actually treat it like your own website. So you can link directly to the HTML, and then it will load as if it's HTML.
Yeah.
So I did that. So like on the stat counter, I saw the views suddenly go up. So I was like wondering what happened. So then I just searched my game on Google, and then suddenly I saw it on the list of IGF. So like they didn't even give us any email or anything. Like I found out after everyone else. Yeah. That we got selected.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really strange. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not my experience with IGF, but okay. Okay, let me translate that. Like, yeah, that was a bit long, but I will try to condense that.
Okay.
就是因为我记得就这款游戏有入围过 IGF 学生奖，那我就刚刚跟他确认一下，说他的那个就是节奏医生在什么时候就是入 IGF 的。那他那时候是2014年 IGF 的，就是学生组就是入围这样。那他那款游戏其实就是节奏医生在开发，应该是开发了在大学期间开发1-2年。他那时候2013年的时候还是就是还在剑桥大学念书的时候。那其实那个时候因为就是既然是全球知名的学府，所以功课也是非常的繁重。那其实在这个学期间是没办法开发游戏的。那所以他是用就是寒暑假的时间去做。那做一做之后就也是意外的看到了，就是说有一个比赛，就是独立游戏的竞赛，叫做 IGF Independent Games Festival 独立游戏节。那它是跟每一年的游戏开发者大会在旧金山 GDC 一起举办的。那它是就是无意间在2013年的时候看到这个东西，然后就说啊，那我年底的时候还有征稿的时间，就投过去看一看。然后后来也就是没有特别去在意说到底会不会入围，还是有没有得奖。总之应该也是功课很忙吧，就是投稿之后就忘记了。好，然后结果就是不料隔年的，就是2014年的年初，好像1、2月的时候，就突然间看到，怎么就入围了这样子？然后他说那个时候是游戏是 host 在就是 Dropbox 上面。那 Dropbox 现在有改版了，那以前比较旧的版本是你可以在 Dropbox 上面就是用一些超连结的方式，可以把它当成像正常的网页的伺服器使用。那他就只是把他的游戏就是 host 在这个 Dropbox 上面，然后结果就是看到了 Dropbox 那个下载数量突然间暴增，他才去查说为什么，然后去 Google 一下，发现怎么自己入围了？好，那就是因为这样入围之后，就是第一次去美国，然后第一次去旧金山参加 GDC 这样子。Okay, so that was your first journey to GDC. Did you like go back to the US afterwards, Like
no. So that was like the only time I ever went.
oh, this is the only time you went. Okay. Okay.
So but like it was pretty fun because like we got so for all these games, right? I worked with my friend from college. His name's Winston. So like he was studying in a different university in London. So he's studying at LSE, London School of Economics. And like since A level, like so back in college, I used to do this thing called like a college newsletter.
Right.
It's like an editorial thing. So like I used to be the editor, so I would like try to make this newsletter for the school.
But not
and then
not
Winston
game
was
related,
always
right?
Winston was always my guy to help like draw anything. So because he was really good at art. So whenever I needed an article, I needed some illustrations, I'd ask him, "Oh, Winston, can you draw something?" Then he would always draw. He would always draw something really good. So when I first started making the prototype for Rhythm Doctor, he was the first person I thought, I thought maybe he can help me do all the graphics because I can't draw. And then that's what he did. So then during the IGF, like I went with him and another friend, and all three of us went to the US to San Francisco for the first time.
So the third teammate was from South America, right?
Oh, okay. No. So at the time of IGF, we didn't meet him yet.
Okay.
So like this third friend was just like he was just a mutual friend. He just wanted to come for fun,
Okay.
So he was helping us. He was just helping us like sort out the booth and like
I see.
find food and stuff like that. Yeah. So actually, so the third guy is Giacomo. He's from South America.
Yeah.
It was actually at IGF that we met him. So how it was if you get nominated for an award, they will give you a booth at the IGF.
Right.
So we were with all the student booths. So like there were some actually there's some people there like I didn't know at the time, but now they're pretty well known. Do you know Mahdi Barami? He made Angare. He's an Iranian game developer. So like he makes this really beautiful kind of puzzle games. There's one called Angare, and then there's the other guy. He was like a few booths down. His name was Albert Shi. He made a Museum of Simulation Technology, which now is called Superliminal, right?
So so you didn't know. I forgot. How do I pronounce his name? I kind of.
So like it's spelled Giacomo, but
so
it's
Giacomo?
pronounced with a Y, so it's a Giacomo.
Oh, Giacomo. Okay. So you.
Like this is what I think, but like I've not spoken to him in like so many years.
Right.
But I think that's true because like all like we talk every day, but we always talk with only text. So like we never voice or video. So even videoing with you guys, like this is the first time I've videoed in like 4 years or something.
Okay. So
anyway, like his name is Giacomo.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So just to continue the story.
Yeah.
So we had our own booth at the IGF. So Giacomo was one of the people who just came. He was like, "Oh, you have a nice game," and he was showing me his game on his phone. He was like, "If you want to make a mobile part of your game, I can help you." So then he showed me this like super smooth kind of car racing game. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So like we just exchanged details, and then like I didn't really think anything about it until like a few months later. He was like, "Hey, you remember me from IGF?" He just emailed me. And then I was like, yeah. And then like that's when we started to slowly start to work together.
Okay. So that's interesting. So I didn't quite catch the backstory with you and Winston, because you said Winston was from LSE, which is also like a very, very like prestigious like school in UK, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so how so like did you guys meet after school?
Okay. So what happened was like so we were together before that. We were together during A levels at our A level college. Together. So then it was only after that then I went to Cambridge and then he went to LSE.
So
but we were
he's also from Malaysia.
We were.
He's also from Malaysia. He's also from Malaysia.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I guess that's why I kind of got close to him while I was in A levels in college, because like, you see someone from your own country there, and then you start to talk to them. Yeah.
And the newsletter thing that you were editing, that was like cross school or like there's.
Oh no, this was during A level. So during our A level college, I think it's kind of confusing because in the UK, college does not mean university.
Right.
So like but in the US, college is a university. Like MIT is a college. But in the UK, like a college is not that. Like the equivalent of MIT is like Cambridge and LSE. Those are universities.
Right.
Whereas I'm talking about college, which is like before university. So like after high school, you finish high school, you have to do A levels for 2 years. So there's like a 2-year little, it's called college. And then after that, you go to university. So like I met Winston in college, before that.
Okay, I see. Okay, so let me also like try to translate that.
Okay.
对，就是他就是 Hafiz 他在伦敦就学的时间是从就是高中毕业后去那边，然后就是英国那边的学制好像是要先念一个叫做这个 A level 的算是大学前的学校，然后在他后来才去就是这个剑桥。那他在 A level 那边的时候，就是有跟另外一个一样是从马来西亚过去的朋友，就是叫Winston Lee， 然后在伦敦那边在念 A level 的时候认识，然后他们那时候就是因为有开办那个算是他们当时就在学期间的那个像是学校电子报或是学校的那个学生报之类的那种专栏，那所以他那时候会写一些文章，那他写文章需要配图的时候就会请 Winston 帮忙，所以后来进这个剑桥之后，他开始有就是自己私下做一些游戏，那个时候他还想说，如果我需要做游戏的时候有一些美术的帮忙，我可能就是回去找之前我那个会画图的朋友一起来帮忙这样子，所以那个时候他就跟Winston 一起就做那个节奏医生的初始的版本。那后来那个版本丢去 IGF 有这个入围的时候呢，他在现场就是有因为很多的学生的作品都是被圈在同一区这样，那他们之后就是认识很多人。那其中一个人是后来他们也是在 IGF 现场认识的，是一个南美洲的开发者叫 Yakumo。那 Yakumo 他后来应该就是主要负责节奏医生的程式，对，那他是现场在那边认识他之后，就后来过了一阵子，然后就是 GDC 跟 IGF 结束了，然后过了几个月，他才又写信过来说，那要不要来合作做一点东西这样子？然后后来就说那干脆就是一起做这个节奏医生这个专案，对。好，刚刚这应该是我应该跳过很多细节，所以就如果大家真的是有忘记的话，可以看录影，对，因为刚刚只是讲很多东西。好 ，and actually, do you remember that actually I and my colleague went to Indicate like some time ago, and we met with Yakumo. I don't know if you remember that. I think it's also around 2017.
So maybe, but like I wasn't there, so only Yakumo was there. So
there was a year where I think Rhythm Doctor also was nominated in Indicate.
Yeah. That was like I think 2017 maybe.
2017. I think it's
17. Okay.
I think it's 2017. 17.
Yeah. So I wasn't there because Malaysia is so far away from the US.
Yeah.
So like I already so by that time I was already in Malaysia.
Right.
But then Yakumo and our PR person, well, he's not the artist for A Dance of Fire and Ice for the other game. So like Yakumo and Kyle, who's the PR person, they went to Indicate. And did they meet you or did they meet your friend?
I think we had dinner together, actually.
Oh, you actually met Yakumo yourself?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah, so I went to Indicate that year because 2 of Taiwan indie games also were nominated. Oh,
nice.
Yeah, so one of them actually is Detention.
Oh yeah, first.
Yeah, so one of the developer of Detention is in the background as well.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, it's you. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Okay. Anyway, 对，就是那个他的南美洲的那位同事是他就是其实很长时间他都是远距工作都没有碰面，因为他也是在他们2014年入围之后 才过了几个月之后才联系上，然后才就是远端工作这样。对，那后来2017年这个节奏医生又有入围另外一个美国的奖项。那一年是我们有去那个展叫做 Indicate， 然后刚好那一年的时候是台湾有2个游戏入围 Indicate， 一个就是返校，然后另外一个是中文名字叫前往，对，英文名字我已经忘记，但是它是一个就是密室逃脱游戏，是有结合 VR 的密室逃脱游戏，然后刚好那一年就是很意外的跟就是节奏医生的组成是那个南美洲组成是碰面这样子。所以我算是说我分开跟他们2位碰过面，然后而且应该是其实是在同一年，因为2017年。So didn't you come to Taipei in 2017?
Yeah,
yeah.
That
So
was TGDF, right?
yeah. So I met you and Giacomo in the same year.
Oh,
but,
you did.
But
okay.
you probably
So
didn't meet Giacomo in the same year at all. Like, did you actually like meet with Giacomo in 2017 for like?
Oh no, not at all. So the only time I ever met him was 2014. So I guess like you kind of, you were the person who connected us in 2017.
Okay.
And there's no one else. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to actual game questions.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So I do remember you mentioned. I think it's also like some other event that I met you. That you mentioned that you. I think in South Korea. Right? In South Korea. Yeah, in Korea, and then you were showcasing A Dance of Ice and Fire.
Yes.
Right. So I was kind of confused. Like you were doing Rhythm Doctor, but Rhythm Doctor hasn't come out, and then you are submitting other games. So can you discuss a little bit about the development of like both games? Like you yeah.
Sure. So what happened was so A Dance of Fire and Ice. Okay, I'm gonna call it Adofai. Okay. So like that's ADOFAI because that's the acronym for Dance of Fire and Ice, and it's easier to say. So Adofai, this game.
Okay.
So it's Rhythm Doctor and there's Adofai. Rhythm Doctor was like I made it in like during university, whereas A Dance of Fire and Ice. So basically after Rhythm Doctor, after I submitted Rhythm Doctor to the IGF, and then they announced it, right? So I had some other Malaysian game developers contact me because like at the time I didn't know anyone in the Malaysian industry, in the Malaysian indie games industry, or even like games industry in general. So after Rhythm Doctor got the IGF, like we had someone from one of the universities contact me. So I went there to meet with a bunch of indie developers, and they were like, "Oh, have you heard of this game jam called Ludum Dare? It's like a 48-hour jam where you make a game in like 2 days. So like usually it's a weekend. So like from Saturday to Sunday, you make a game." So I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So like during my holidays, there was one Ludum Dare jam at the time. So I went there, and then that's when I made A Dance of Fire and Ice. So that's why that game started. Even though Rhythm Doctor wasn't finished, it's because it was a game jam, and usually in game jams, like you just want to try to make something small. So after I made that, I released it, and then like I decided to make a few more levels, and then made an online demo, and then people started playing that as well. So now we had like 2 games kind of in development at the same time, and that was just the case like up until both games were released.
So what year was that Ludum Dare? Was it also in 2017 or is like earlier?
No. It was in 2014. So like 2014, in early 2014, like we went to GDC.
Right.
And then after we went to GDC, we came back, and then I went back for summer holidays in Malaysia. I met up with other developers there, and then that's when we did the Ludum Dare.
I see. 对，那就是Hafiz 的另外一款游戏《A Dance of Ice and Fire》，就是简称叫 Adofai。对，那这款游戏它是也是一样，是一颗按键就可以玩的节奏游戏。那他那时候是在 IGF 入围，已经就是整个活动都结束了，然后回到马来西亚之后，他才开始认识一些就是Okay, wait. Let me clarify one thing. So you went back to UK in 2014, right? Not Malaysia. or
No. So I was studying in the UK in Cambridge. I had a 4-year degree, so that was like 2012 to 2011 to 2015.
Right.
But I would also go back to Malaysia for summer holidays.
Oh, just from time to time. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So that was when I met the other Malaysian developers.
Right. 对，那就是他在就是还在学期间，但是他可是在回马来西亚的一段时间之后的一小段时间，就是那时候刚好有一个Ludendare 的这个线上 game 卷，然后他那时候在马来西亚也开始认识一些，就是因为参与一些活动，有人来找他，然后就他认识了一些马来西亚的开发者，然后看到有这个线上 game 卷的社群可以参与，然后他做了这个就是 A Dance of Ice and Fire 的这个小游戏，然后就把那个游戏就是当做一个免费的 demo， 就在网络上流传这样。So that I remember that game was that game started as a Android demo, right? Or was
so it started right after the Ludum Dare. So like
right.
So after so they gave you 2 days to make a game, and then you have to upload it, and usually it's a web version, so it's like a browser.
Oh, so the first version was a web browser. The first version
was.
The first version
was the browser.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. And then after that, like there was still some time during the holidays, so that became my kind of that became the game I was more working on for the next few holidays. So like, cause that gave me motivation again. Right. There was a new game that when you make a new game, it always gives you a lot of new ideas, right? Because like the starting part of a game is usually really easy, where there's all these ideas you can explore.
Yeah.
Whereas for Rhythm Doctor, I already made a few levels, so it was it's getting a bit hard to come up with new ideas.
Right.
So for after making A Dance of Fire and Ice, that motivated me again. So I would make I made 3 worlds, and then I released the Android version. I put it up on Congregate and Newgrounds and stuff like that. That was 2014, 2015-ish. And that was the first time I tried selling a game, because the Android version was paid. So that was the first time we actually got any kind of money,
right,
for a game. So and that was really interesting, because while I was doing my degree, I never really thought I would be a indie game developer. I had always had the idea that after I graduate, I do 4 years of engineering. Why would I throw that away? I've learned so much, all these very specific things, and I wanted a chance to use it in the industry and all that stuff. So it never entered my mind. Since I was young, indie game development was never anything I saw myself doing as a full-time thing. Because if I did, I think I probably wouldn't have done engineering. Right. I'd probably have gone to had tried to go to a game design school or something like that. But because I had no intention to be an indie game developer at all, so that's why I did engineering. And it was only after we started releasing our games while I was in uni, and then people started liking them, and then some people would start paying for them, that I thought maybe I would spend 1 or 2 years after university just to make indie games, and then I would go back to being an engineer again.
Oh,
but that hasn't happened. It's already been 6 years. I'm still doing indie games now.
Okay, this is a pretty important part. So I'll try to follow this in more detail. 就是他在做这个 A Dance of Ice and Fire 的时候，就是那时候是一个小游戏，然后他一开始只有做网页版，但是后来他就是那网页版他有放到一些就是当时应该算是还都蛮知名的一些网页游戏的，就是那种集合网站 portal， 就是有像 Congregate 或是 Newgrounds 这些网站。那他后来也有把这个版本做成了，就是当时那个 Game 卷版本，然后他做了好像3个不同的世界之后，就做成一个 Android 上，就是 Google Play 上可以玩的游戏，然后他就直接释出这样。然后他那时候在 Android 上面卖的这个版本，就直接是有付费很便宜的一个游戏这样。那无论他的游戏当初卖的多便宜，总之是一个他真的有收到钱的作品。那也是因为这样子，他才开始发现说，其实也许就是做游戏，然后就做独立游戏，然后获取营收，然后以后可能可以把这个当成事业或是生意， 就是这个想法才渐渐出现。因为他虽然很早就开始做像用 Game Maker 做一些小游戏或是之类的，但是他刚刚有讲到他觉得如果他在求学过程中有把开发游戏这件事情当成一个很重要的事情去考量，或者说把这东西当成未来可以从事，就是算是谋生计的一个行为的话，他应该当时就不会想要去念电机或工程相关的科系，他应该那时候就会开始去找就是游戏科系去念。那就是因为到入大学之前为止，他都没有去认真去思考过这个问题，所以他觉得说，就是可能游戏是偶尔做一做，然后他还是想要就是当就是学有专精的这种就是工程师，或者是就是比较传统的，不管是软体或是硬体的工程师，然后之后可能就是做正常的工程师的工作这样。对，那也是阴错阳差之下，就导致他现在就是一直在做独立游戏。那他刚有提到另外一点蛮重要的是说，他在开发节奏医生的时候，其实到2014、2015年已经算是开发了好几年，然后也做了几个关卡。但是当时节奏医生他要再想出新的关卡跟变出新的就是玩法花样，其实会需要花相对更大的心力，那就是其实做起来是蛮累的。那也是因为有那个 Game Jam 的机会，做了另外一款游戏，才感觉说，有一个新东西可以尝试新的玩法。那就算是可以对自己充个电，那充个电之后可能多了一些想法，那以后也许会有更多可以拿来做游戏设计或者游戏开发的素材，或者是一些想法之类的。对，那就怎么讲，就是像这种就是用 Game Jam 来稍微充个电，然后稍微重新看一些或者说尝试一些自己正常的专案或者比较大的专案不会去尝试一些事情，其实是我们在推 Game Jam 类活动的时候还蛮主打的一个点。对，那如果有人这边以后想要参加 Game Jam 的话，就是可以关注，因为台湾现在其实 Game Jam 也很多。那我想在座这边应该有蛮多人也是至少都看过或是参与过这样子。那我这边就不太多做介绍。那如果有问题的话，等一下可以再继续问。Okay, so let's get into some of the game design questions that I had. So you mentioned that you want to try something new in A Dance of Ice and Fire, right? And that's sort of like kind of like revitalized your ideas and your passion about game design at the time. But interestingly, the Rhythm Doctor and Adofi both are rhythm games that can only be played with one button. So why did you like hold on to that constraint?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, actually, like if you ask me, like do I ever wanna make other genres of games? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I have an interest. I don't think I have that much interest, but it's also like it's not only my interest, but also because like I don't think I'll be good enough to try making another kind of genre of game, because like I guess one of the reasons why I like to do like rhythm kind of games, right, is because I have a music background.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that it's a lot easier to find ideas that are new for me compared to other people if I try to work in this genre. So that's one of the reasons why for me, like I wanted to stick to rhythm, but also because I have a natural interest. I have a natural interest in like music and rhythm and like exploring that stuff. So like even if I wasn't making games, I was still like composing stuff and playing the piano, playing the guitar and the violin, and all that kind of stuff. So like if I make games and I can actually I have a chance to use all that stuff in the game itself, like that's even more motivating for me. So that's I think a big reason why like I really like to make games in this specific genre, because I think I might be better at it than other genres, but also because like I just have an interest in this specific kind of field. Even though like the games I play, like I don't really play many rhythm games actually. So like the games I love to play are like twitchy platformer kind of games like Celeste, Super Hexagon, If you lost box, one of my friends' games, it's kind of like Super Hexagon as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually the kind of games I like, and the reason why I like it is because it's very relaxing to me to just kind of memorize inputs and like not think about anything. So like as a way to de-stress, that's usually my kind of game that I like to play. But it's not rhythm games. I like part of the reason why I think is because of the design of like rhythm games these days. The skill ceiling is really high, and usually the more interesting parts of game design is only at the higher levels of play. Whereas like if you're not good at like finger dexterity like I am, then you'll be stuck at a lower level where things are not as interesting. So that was also why like the games that I try to design, I try to make them easy in terms of the dexterity, but complicated in terms of the theory, because that's the kind of thing I like, right? That's the kind of thing I enjoy more, like the kind of musical complexity. But I don't want to have to try to train my finger dexterity just in order to experience that kind of complexity in the rhythm. So that's like, if you ask me why like our games are rhythm games and why our games are one-button games and why our games are kind of simple in terms of like not requiring too much finger dexterity. So that's why, right? Because that's what I like. Like I want to explore the more complicated parts without having to get good at the dexterity and my skills.
Okay, that really makes a lot of sense, and I think it's also very important. And I will try to translate that. So就是我刚刚问的问题是想要问说，就是它的2款游戏现在不仅都是节奏游戏，而且都是只用1颗键就可以操作的节奏游戏。那到底是怎样的因素影响它去连续做2款游戏都是这个风格？那第一个部分是跟就是节奏游戏有关，就是说为什么只挑节奏游戏？那他说他其实他本人自己甚至也没有玩太多别的类型的游戏，甚至节奏就是现在市面上比较流行的音乐节奏游戏，他其实也没有玩很多。对，但是他自己有音乐背景，那所以他觉得用他自己熟悉的就是有专长的东西去发想一些比较新的内容，应该是相对来讲比去发想一些他不熟悉的内容要来得容易。那所以他才会就是一直想要就是开发跟节奏游戏相关的类型。那另外一个方面是说，它的这个玩法上为什么要限制说就是连续2款都是只有1颗键，而不是说像一些音乐游戏，它可能是操作上比较复杂。那他的感觉是，因为现在蛮多音乐游戏，你可能在这个关卡，就是说，譬如某一个谱面是，譬如什么连音特别多啊，还是说它可能就是这首音乐是打特定的节奏，或是说走特定的风格。但是这个 concept 这个概念可能对玩家来说是那大脑容易理解，但是他手指就是不够快，就是你可能要练很久才能练到那个手速，或者是说那个手的那个某一些音符，或者说某一些节奏的 pattern， 某些节奏的模式。你一定要反复的去练习，然后把你的这个手练到很灵活，才有办法，就是用肌肉记忆之类的概念，才能去玩一些很高端的关卡。那些游戏里面很多有趣的关卡，它也许其实都是谱面难度都相当高的。那反过来说，他比较希望可以做一款节奏游戏是操作很简单，就是你不需要去熟悉很多那种，譬如什么吉他英雄的指法，还是说什么某些这个节奏游戏或是打鼓游戏有那种很复杂的，就是比如好几个不同的那个鼓面你都要去记，那就是说只用1颗按键，然后你就是1只手指一起去戳它就可以玩的游戏。那但是在这之上，它可以用这么简单的操作模式去加入一些相对，就是说你大脑会需要花一点时间才能理解的概念，比如说特定形式的节奏，像如果有玩过节奏医生的人应该知道，就是说他其实在每一个大关，或是说每一个角色出来跟你介绍他的背景，然后就是你要去帮他的时候，其实你 那个按法就是你如果有 get 到的话，你就会按啊。如果你没有 get 到的话，就是跟你手速多快其实没什么关联。对，那像这样子的东西是他比较喜欢做的，所以他才会就是连续做2款游戏都是像这样子的风格。Okay, so I want to switch gear to other type of questions because I noticed.
You mind if I add something more to
what
I was talking
good.
about earlier?
Yeah.
So like I just want to say that like nothing I personally do, like I don't think it matches, like I don't think it's as good as what anyone else does. And what I mean by that is like some people, they say like they play Rhythm Doctor and they say, wow, this is the first game that focused on music theory, or the first game that's actually about rhythm or something like that, you know?
Right.
But actually that all the kind of stuff that I like to focus on, like kind of fundamentals of rhythm theory, maybe like swing music or irregular time signatures or interesting rhythms, all that stuff exists in other games. So like, you know, like the biggest rhythm games like Dance Dance Revolution or anything that Rayart does, like once you go up to the higher levels, like all that stuff is there. The only difference is that because I eliminate most of the dexterity requirements, people who are not that good at rhythm games can experience that kind of high level of rhythm without having to get very good at the game first. And that's why these people say like, oh, this is the first music rhythm theory game or whatever. But it's not. It's just because like it's just made more accessible to these people. And the people who say that are usually people who don't really have much experience in the big rhythm games. And I think that's similar to why I make rhythm games, because like I know I'm not better than anyone, like probably everyone in this room, right? Would have, like maybe some of you have like gone to game design school, so you actually know the fundamentals of game design much better than me, because like I haven't actually studied a lot of these things. So like it's something I want to get better at, but it's the same kind of reasoning, right? So I'm like, everything I do is not really like anything better than anyone else. I'm just kind of sticking to the stuff I know, and sometimes I kind of make stuff that's inaccessible to normal players, more accessible to those players. So sometimes it might seem to them like our games are innovative in some way, but really it's just like a mishmash of influences and inspirations made into something that's more accessible to the average player, I think. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very humble way of putting. Yeah, but yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. So let me also translate that part quickly. 就是他刚补充那段是讲说，就是像很多知名的音乐游戏，它包括他刚刚也有举例，就是像雷亚的音乐游戏，就是这种音乐游戏，它里面就是各种乐曲也是会有很多就是跟音乐相关的背景知识或者是技巧，或者说有些背景资讯玩家不一定会知道，但是你玩到高段的玩家，你一定是会体验到那些相关的东西。但是大部分的这些音乐游戏，会让没有办法练起来的那些比较普通的玩家，他就无法体会到，就是所谓就是音乐跟音乐跟节奏那些有趣的面向，可能你就是没有办法去体会到。那所以他常常听到有一些现在的玩家可能会说，哦，他们的2款作品都是就是那些玩家都会说，哦，你这个游戏就是让我耳目一新啊，就是我从来没有看过那个节奏游戏这样做，或者说有很多节奏游戏，就是好像在展现跟节奏相关的概念上面都不如这款游戏那种感觉。但是他强调是说，其实并不是其他游戏都没有这些内容，而是他想要做的游戏比较偏向就是可以用很简单的操作就能让玩家体验到那些相对比较难或者说比较进阶的一些概念。那你也就是 不需要是一个专业的音乐游戏玩家，你也可以知道，你可以体会到那些，比如说什么就是不规则的节拍啊，或者说一些比较不常见的节拍的那些概念，你以前可能也许以前高中国中音乐课也许有上过，但是马上就还给老师的那些东西，就是你反而玩这款游戏之后可以体验到那些内容，那也不会操作很复杂。对，那他自己其实并没有去学过很多就是游戏设计、游戏开发相关的知识，那他所有东西都是自学，所以他宁可就是用他自己所知、自己所学，就是尽量把自己知道的东西简化，然后推给算是让他的这个游戏的可被接受的程度，就是在一般玩家间可被接受的程度就是更上升。那所以才会有那么多玩家觉得说，哎，好像这些东西都只有在你这款节奏游戏里看过。那其实是因为那些玩家其实他们当初可能是有尝试过一些比较难的节奏游戏，但是就玩了一下就被击退了，所以也不会体验到那些比较难的节奏游戏到底有哪些美好之处这样子。对 ，OK， so So I want to switch gear to like other side of like some of my remaining questions. So I noticed that in the game there is a lot of Mandarin and Chinese references. So I wonder if like that is like your idea or like if that's Winston's idea. How did you make so there are even music with Mandarin lyrics, right? So how did you make how did you make that happen?
Okay, so first of all, have you been to Malaysia before? So like Malaysia has kind of a big Chinese influence already in itself. Right? A big part of the population is Chinese. Like I'm part Chinese, Winston's Malaysian Chinese. Mm-hmm. So like we already have that kind of culture. We have the kind of culture in our country already. Mm-hmm. So part of it is so how we work, like me and Winston, right? I would ask him to draw like I would never give him like an actual like something to draw. I would just give him the mechanic, like we need a character, mm-hmm. or we need a heart, and then he would just do whatever he wants. So like a lot of the stuff with like Chinese influence comes from him. Like he just decides to take that character into this kind of culture, and then I would see it, and then I would get inspired by it, and I would kind of make something that goes more towards mm-hmm. that kind of culture. But then like if you're asking like for the music specifically, like I guess the first boss level, it uses like an erhu and a guzheng. Mm-hmm. These are like Chinese instruments. That was kind of like an interesting coincidence, I guess, because I was listening to this I think he's a Taiwanese musician. What's his name? Shanghai Restoration Project. Maybe he's from China actually. Yeah, so he's an artist called Shanghai Restoration Project. He likes to combine like Chinese instruments with hip hop. Mm-hmm. And I was really into that kind of music at the time. So I thought, hey, maybe let's try something like that. And then we had like for that boss level, there's a mechanic where you have to count to 7. You have to press on the 7th beat, but the song itself will start to stutter, so it has like glitch effects.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing felt really fitting with this kind of genre, like hip hop kind of Chinese, because like if you take like hip hop Chinese music and then you start to stutter it, it sounds more cool to me. So I was like, okay, yeah. So like let's go with that. So basically a lot of the things, a lot of this kind of influence has been, I guess, influenced by our backgrounds as well. The stuff we listen to, how it's like in Malaysia. And sometimes these little pockets of culture just appear here and there, because of our backgrounds. Like it's not a very explicit choice. It's not like we want to appeal to the Chinese market, so we'll make this. But it's more like it just happens naturally. And then what happened was we also got a Chinese publisher after a few years. So they helped us so they kind of made us focus more on stuff like translation. So like we also redid our songs in Mandarin because of them. So like they funded this kind of stuff for us. So we were like, okay, sure. Like if they want to, so like we're happy to. to do that. And because like a lot of people in Malaysia are Chinese, it's easy to find like Chinese singers and Chinese speakers.
I see.
And things like that.
I see.
Actually, the interesting part was like, so the way they count in Rhythm Doctor is 一二三四五六七,
Yeah.
and like it's always in Mandarin, and that was, I don't really know, I can't remember why, but I think it was because one of my friends who was the voice for the nurse, she was Malaysian Chinese, and we thought it'll be more fun if she just tries to speak in Chinese. So like that was the start. That was the start of the Chinese influence, I guess. And then it started to seep in other ways. I think like some things inspire other things, which inspire more things. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting story. Like nothing really was deliberately made, but it just like the background culture just influence and like just bleed into your game, right? Like
yeah. So like I think our game is suitable for that because the story is kind of crazy. It's got like all kinds of patience, so it doesn't really matter what kind of direction the game goes in.
Yeah.
So I can do like one day I feel like making hip hop, one day I feel like making lo-fi. It's okay because it's a kind of variety game where like every patient is different.
Yeah.
I don't think that kind of thing would work if you have a very focused kind of game, right?
Right.
So it's just for us that it's easy to do because we keep our constraints kind of like we keep it focused on the like the only thing that connects all of these kind of different cultures in the game is the music, right? So like that's where we start. So if like the music is if the music theory gameplay is kind of fixed, then everything else can be more flexible around.
Right.
It. Whereas I know some games that are not like game design focused, so they focus on the aesthetics first. So for those, I guess you want to be really focused about your aesthetics, right? You don't want to just accept any kind of influence and just put it in. Whereas for us, it was fine because like that was the kind of game we made.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. 对，那刚刚这段我主要是想问说，就是因为这款就是节奏医生，它里面其实有很多华文的元素在里面，那就是问一下说，那这个元素是怎么来的？那其实答案也算是蛮单纯，就是因为就是大马华人也算是很多嘛，那基本上他们自己就有相关的就是耳濡目染的背景都在里面，所以在那边会使用一些就是中国或者是华文的元素，也是算是蛮自然的。那像他刚刚最后有提到一个例子是说，就是节奏为什么要数1、2、3、4、5、6、7，是单纯就是说，就是因为他的其中一个配音员的，就是帮游戏配音的朋友，就是临时起兴的提案，那后来就开始有越来越多，就是那干脆可能就是说，一些曲目或者说一些使用的乐器的风格，也可以就是往这个方向去尝试这样子。对，那也没有特别刻意的去做什么安排。那只是说后来他因为有拿到那个 your publisher is Indinova, right?
Yeah. Do you know? Have you met them?
No, I haven't met them. I know their forum, yeah, but I don't know them personally. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
对，那就是中国有一个独立游戏的发行商叫 Indinova， 那他算是后来 Rhythm Doctor 就是节奏医生的，就是发行商。那他们那时候就是有帮他再多做一些，就是再多给一些资助，让他可以就是做比较多的，比如说歌曲有双版本啊，或者说可以做就是多版本的这个口语配音这样子。对，那OK. Okay, so before I open I open up to the audience questions, I have I guess my final question here, because actually due to the translation we are kind of over time now, but I do want to ask you one of the final aspect that I want to ask. So your both your games like Lo-fi and Rhythm Doctor, they have a pretty big and integrated community aspect built into the game. I would say like almost from the beginning. So as an indie game developer, how did you start to plan that kind of community integration? And how like you made a level editor, but was the level editor started out as just a tool for yourself, or you think like, okay, actually I want to make this level editor for the community as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so actually, like none of the games started with the level editor, so like that happened quite late.
Right.
Like for Ado5, for example, it only happened after release, because after we released, someone in the community made their own level editor, like as a separate tool.
Okay.
Like they basically remade Ado5 on their own with the level editor. So we're like, oh no, why don't we get this? Why don't we get this guy to work for us instead and make the level editor for us? So we're like, okay, do you want to make the level editor officially? So and he was like, okay, sure. This person's Morpheus. His name's Morpheus. Like he's like only a teenager, but he was on our Discord. Yeah, he was really young. He was on our Discord,
Okay.
and he was sharing his fan-made level editor. So like and also for Rhythm Doctor, we didn't really plan on making a level editor at all. So for the first 2 years, like for the IGF and all that, there was no level editor at all. What happened was we started like 2016. We started because like we really wanted to motivate ourselves to continue work on the game. So what we did was we decided to make levels and release them to our newsletter. So they were like privately only to our newsletter subscribers. And every month we would try to release one level, and then we get feedback. So for one of the newsletters, we wanted to ask them like what do they want. So we had a survey. It's like what kind of stuff do you want? Do you want like a 2-player mode? Do you want like leaderboards, stuff like that? Then like everyone said level editor. So we were like, okay. So we were never really thinking about level editor up until then. Something I want to tell you though. Maybe you want to translate this first, and then I'll continue.
Okay, let's translate it first. So，就是我因为就是目前你在看的话，就是节奏医生还有他之前的那个《冰与火之舞》，他其实都有那个关卡设计的编辑器。哦，那我本来是想问他说，那这个编辑器是一开始就有去打算要做，还是说后来才加入？那他就讲说，其实《冰与火之舞》那款游戏的编辑器是，应该说2款游戏，没有。就《冰与火之舞》的编辑器是游戏上市后才做，因为那款游戏制作期很短，然后它丢出来之后，就是有玩家自己制作了，就是等于说是非官方的编辑器。那因为其实你也可以想象那款游戏本质上很单纯，所以就很像说它就是一个可以读特定谱面的程式，然后可以播音效，然后加编辑器。那就是说等于说有一个玩家已经有一个完全非官方的游戏的那个复制版就已经出来了，这样，对，他就想说啊，那怎么办？那就想说，干脆直接跟那个人问说，你要不要直接来团队里工作比较快。那后来就是联络上了那个做那个非官方版本编辑器的开发者，然后就请他进来，然后就后来发现说，原来对方是一个就是10几岁的小伙子，对，然后就是整个团队人现在都很年轻就对了，对，那。第二部分是他在那个节奏医生在开发的过程中，就是因为想要让自己还有一些动力继续稳定的持续产出内容，所以他就也是一样开了一个像是电子报的东西，那就是会每个月会发送一个新关卡给就是私下有订阅这个电子报的粉丝，那。其中一期他就直接问粉丝说，那就是大家希望在节奏医生这个游戏里面看到怎样的内容？对，然后那时候好像他刚讲说是2016还是2017年，那就是说所有人那时候都回应说，就是他们应该就是他们想要看到是那个节奏医生的关卡编辑器，然后就好吧，那就是既然就是粉丝都要求了，那就做这样子。对，所以2款游戏都等于算是。一开始其实并没有去想到要做那个关卡编辑器这件事情。Okay, you can continue.
Okay, so yes, I just want to talk about this the whole level editor thing. It's actually quite dangerous to make a level editor, and this is why, like, what we thought at first, right? It's like making a level editor is it's just a tool, right? Like Audacity or like FL Studio or Adobe. Like people can just make stuff in it. They can share it. They can save files. They can open files. Like what's wrong with that? It's just a tool. The problem is it actually gets quite political because if you make a level editor, if it's a normal game, it's fine. People just make whatever levels they want. No, I guess even for platform games, people can make like Nazi symbols in the level editor. But that's not what I'm talking about. Not here. The thing is, for music game level editors, when people say like, when we ask everyone like, what do you want, and they say I want a level editor, what most people are thinking of is, I want to use my favorite song in the level editor. So they're not thinking, I want to make my own song and I want to make a level editor. No, they're thinking, oh, I really like my favorite artist song. I want to make a level with that song. And this is where it gets kind of dangerous because, so like, do you agree that sometimes tools, tools made without any instructions can be dangerous?
Yeah.
Like, so what happened with this was that people were making songs with their favorite artists, and those favorite artists, like, they didn't want it. They didn't want their songs to be made in the level editor. So like there's a few approaches to this actually. So like we had spent a lot of time on this because some of those artists got angry with us because like they say like it's unethical to make a level editor when people are going to use other artists' music in that level editor. And like I see their point. Like at first my viewpoint was that level editors are just neutral tools. Like it's like making FL Studio. Like anyone can make a remix, unauthorized remix in FL Studio and share it. So what's the difference with our game? But I think it goes beyond that because like even though it may be legally okay, morally there's something gray there because a lot of artists, right? How they make money is especially rhythm game artists, they make money by licensing their tracks to other rhythm games. So if there is a level editor and people use their songs without us like buying a license for every song that every player wants to use, it might degrade the exclusivity of their tracks because it's now more common compared to before when it was only licensed to specific games. So like I know like in the kind of artist community, there's a game. Do you know Osu?
Yeah,
there's
I know
a game
Osu.
called
Yeah,
Osu.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Osu.
it's like a circle. You click the circles.
Yeah.
And that's like that's a huge community where everything is custom. Everything is like custom levels. Everything is like made for a level editor, and that attracts a lot of anger from artists because the developer profits from that because they sell subscriptions to Osu. They sell like subscriptions to the leaderboard. You can get supporter. They sell all the tools and stuff. So they're indirectly they are making money from artists' work without paying them. So that's the whole gist of it. So that's what we started to get into, right? Because when we released a level editor, we didn't think about these things. That's when it starts to feel like, oh, are we profiting from these artists? Like we have our own levels. We have because like that's the main game, right? We have our own levels in both games, but there's a question of like how much are we benefiting from these custom levels that other people are making? So we had a big talk with our team. Like, what do we do? Like, do we just cancel the level editor? Do we delete it? Do we delete all levels that weren't made by artists who gave permission? So what we did in the end was we thought for a long time. We made something called a verified artist list. So it's a website. It's integrated with the game. And if you type any artist in our level editor, it will first check the website, the database, to see if that artist has given permission before. And if they haven't given permission, then they won't let you upload it. So it's a whitelist system. So whitelist means that every song has been approved by the artist before they can use it. So we transitioned into this system. One of the problems was that we had all these old levels, right? The users, they spend a lot of time making these. So we kind of had to decide, like, do we want to delete all of these old levels so that we can be pure again, So we did. So we actually had to, like, it was a hard decision, but we had talked to the community and we said, we're gonna have to like disable access to all these. So like none of these were shared on official platforms anyway. So like it's shared on non-official. Like of course we wouldn't share songs we don't have to license on our actual platform, like in the game itself. So these are all like on the fan Discord and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But even then, like even though we don't own that platform, even though we don't make money directly, there's still a moral question about whether we are profiting indirectly. So because of that, we decided, we kind of clamped down on all the old levels, and we'd only start approving levels once they got permission from the artist. And that's what we did. So Giacomo, our programmer, he's in Peru. So he had a friend, Diego, who was good at like web development. So he could make a database of artists who would allow their songs to be used. And then we would ask everyone to contact the artist, and then they have to email, they have to get a response. And then they would upload the response to the website. And then one of our team, it's like, his name's Oth. He's our Korean translator as well, but he also manages this database. So he'll approve levels. He'll approve artists who have given their permission. And then we have a long list. And that kind of works. And then also what we do from there is like, if we see songs get popular, we will contact the artist to ask to buy a license, to buy like an official license. So then it will be transferred from just the user-made level into an official level. And then we'd pay them and they'd get the compensation for it. But anyway, yeah, so like conclusion, like level editors can be quite dangerous. So like there's a lot of things to think about before you just make a level editor and just give it to people. Yeah.
But I still think that's like a good, like a kind of like a good problem that you have. It's not like a bad problem. Like it's like your game is popular, so people, or like your game mechanics attracts people. So there are players who want to use your platform to make custom levels, and so
yeah. So actually, so like there is the other thing, right? So artists usually like the reason why they would get angry is because if a level is like a custom level is really popular in our game, the fans would start going to their songs, like on YouTube, the video, and say like, oh, this is the song from Otterfile, this is the song from Rhythm Doctor,
right?
And then like their song, which has no relation to our game,
right?
Fans would start to associate it with the game, and that's like, it's kind of insulting to them as well that this happens. Like I know what you mean. It's a good problem to have, but like it doesn't feel like a good problem to have. It gets kind of,
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Kind of dangerous, right? It's like we want to be cool with the community, and like we have a lot of different parties who have different desires and different wants and stuff. Like the fans, they want to make levels for any song they want. The artists, they don't want fans to make make levels for their song, and so on. So it's that's what I mean by political. Like you have to start to consider everyone's viewpoints.
Yes, very very good point. Very good point. So I will try to translate this right, because this is also pretty like a very important aspect of the game. 好，那就是我现在最后要翻译，就是我刚刚问这段问题。那如果有人有想要问问题的话，就是等一下可能举个手，等一下就是看有人有问题的话，我这边有另外一个麦克风可以递给你们。好，那我就是先翻译一下刚刚的这段结论。我就是说，为什么讲到这个关卡编辑器在音乐游戏里面其实是还蛮危险的一件事情，是因为很多游戏。很多音乐游戏，就是他们跟作曲家就是合作的方式是，作曲家会把自己的一些乐曲可能就是授权给特定几款游戏使用，或者可能就是只有特定一款游戏。那就是这个交易能够成立，其实有一个前提是说，基本上它不是就是免费的发送给所有人，你在什么游戏里面都可以玩到这首歌。那就是相对来讲，它的价值。就是如果你是说，哎，这个乐曲只有这款 节奏游戏或者只有这款音乐游戏才有的话，它的价值其实相对来讲应该会稍微高一点。那如果说你今天是允许玩家自己去使用你的关卡编辑器，然后就载入乐曲，然后就编谱面的话，那其实很容易产生一个状况，就是你的游戏里面可能会充斥很多感觉好像很有名的曲子，或者是说可能都已经有 YouTube 的内容制作者都已经用你的就是都已经用那些相关就是自定谱面、自定乐曲，然后都已经在 YouTube 上很红了。可是实际上这样会造成一个就是算是著作权上的争议啦。那因为使用这些乐曲的人，他本身并没有跟原本的作曲家取得授权。好，那今天只是说，玩家个人喜欢听这个听这个音乐，然后可能喜欢这款游戏的机制，所以他就把它就用那个关卡编辑器把它做进来。那这样的话，其实会造成一个很危险的现象，就是你的游戏里面可能会充斥了非常多其实根本就没有被授权的音乐。那这个时候，开发者就是开发者那一端，他要处理或不处理，就会变成是一个很棘手的状况。所以Hafiz 刚有举另外一个例子是，有一款最早应该是从 NDS 上面就是应援团衍生出来的一个节奏游戏玩法，然后那个游戏它后来应该就是在 PC 上就是直接有一个算是 clone， 就叫 Osu， 那也是原本那个应援团游戏的就是念法就对了。那总之那款游戏就有非常非常多的就是那种无断转载自制的谱面，然后就是使用那种没有授权的其他作曲家的音乐，然后其实很多就是音乐作者就是对那款游戏上面有这么多充斥这种就是他们毫无管理的这种状态，就是很反感就对了。那节奏医生其实一开始也是有遇到一点这样的问题，对，那他们是应该算是有人跟他们提出一些反应之后，那节奏医生的团队才私下讨论说，那当初是玩家要关卡编辑器的，那现在我们是要把关卡编辑器砍掉吗？还是说，我们要用什么方式去管理怎么做关卡这件事情，或者怎么上传关卡这件事情？所以他们后来的做法是，在官方网站上面就是有列一个就是白名单，是这上面的列表的音乐作者是已经同意他的游戏可以在节奏医生这款游戏里面被拿来自制谱面，只有这些人的音乐可以这样做。对，那而且他还是包括他那个刚 Hafiz 有强调说，你要用那个已经 verify 的作者去自制谱面之前，你还是一样，就是做谱面的那个玩家，他还是要去跟原本那个音乐作者去取得授权，然后那个授权要有一个书面的样板，它就是要做一个简单的说明。然后那个东西要连同你的关卡，你编辑好的关卡一起上传到 server， 然后他们上传到 server 那边会有人做人工的检查，所以其实是一个非常劳心劳力的流程，就是它不是像一般的譬如说平台游戏还是什么动作游戏的关卡编辑器一样，就是反正就是把地图编一编就可以用，它基本上会牵涉到很多就是原本作曲家本身的权利的问题。那如果某一个乐曲是由玩家自制关卡而红起来，那到很红的程度的时候，官方团队甚至会决定说，那直接跟那个音乐作者去谈那一首曲子的授权，那个曲子就不再是只是说合可的玩家创作，玩家谱面创作，而是说这个谱面跟那个音乐都会变成官方的内容。对，那其实这是一个非常劳心劳力的过程。那就是劝大家就是如果你的游戏也许有机会变成这样子走红的情况，那特别是像音乐游戏，那在音乐著作权这方面，其实要很花时间去考量。对，那其实以前也有一些其他的游戏有类似的做法啦，就是其实 NDS 上面以前有一些游戏也是有这样子的设计，就是我记得应该有一款叫大合奏吧，就是他们也是要有那个官方先认可的音乐，他们才能去做谱面这样子。Okay. So I'm going to open open up to the floor, the audience questions. So I'll start asking. 所以有没有人有问题想要问开发者？就你是玩过节奏医生，然后你有一些开发上的问题，还是说对于游戏本身的问题想要问开发者？如果有想到的话，就是随时举手。有吗？还要继续想一下？如果还要继续想一下，有问题吗？他有玩过，
他也很喜欢玩这个。好了，
没关系，有问题的话就跟我们讲。要么我跟开发者聊一下天。
跟他聊天呐，对。你到中间，他才看得到。那就拿着。
没有，你要过来前面。Yeah, we have the youngest audience here.
All right. Hi.
没关系，请你坐这里，没关系。Hello, he's here.
Oh,
Okay.
Hello. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah.
对，你要问问题吗？不要紧张，不要紧张，不要紧张。Yeah, he's a bit nervous. So.
Okay, no problem. It's okay.
我叫周雨欣，英文名字叫 Sean。我和我的同学都喜欢节奏医生。之后我还用 Scratch 做了一个节奏医生的简易版。Scratch 就是类似一个开发游戏的程式。那可不可以
不要紧张。
那可不可以给我一些游戏开发上的建议？
Okay, good. Okay, so I'll repeat that. Did you get that?
Okay.
Did you
what,
kind
in
of
Chinese?
Yeah, but
No, my
but
Chinese isn't good enough.
okay, I'll repeat that. So his name is Sean, and he a lot of his friends are like they are all fans of Rhythm Doctor, and
Oh, so nice.
yeah, and he also made a kind of like a clone of Rhythm Doctor in Crash. I think there's a program or like Scratch. Okay, Scratch. Sorry. Yeah. So
Scratch, yeah.
So he kind of made a simpler version of Rhythm Doctor in Scratch,
Yeah.
and he would like to know if you have any suggestion to this young developer.
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you so much for playing our game. It's really nice, and thank you for the question, and thank you for making a Scratch version of Rhythm Doctor. That's really nice to hear. Actually, I know Scratch quite well. And I've seen a few Rhythm Doctor clones made in Scratch. Maybe one of them is yours, actually. But yeah, it's really nice that you are starting young. Like you remind me of when I was like 10 years old and I was also making games in Game Maker. And like the first game I made was a clone of Sonic. So Sonic was one of my favorite games back then. Sonic the Hedgehog is like a platformer, 2D platform game. And it's nice to see that you are also making clones of other games right now. I think that's a really good way to get started to make games. And my only suggestion is to just keep having fun. When I was young, like I didn't really think about much. I just made the games that I liked to play. And I'm glad that you like Rhythm Doctor enough to make a clone of it. You can send the game to me and I would be happy to play it as well. Yeah.
Okay, I'll translate that. 就是第一个是他先很感谢，就是你们都很喜欢玩他的游戏。对，那就是他自己也是就是之前也蛮会用 Scratch 就是开发游戏的。然后他说他有看到蛮多 就是节奏医生的复制品是用 Scratch 做的。他说搞不好他有看过你的版本。对，那他是有强调说，就是如果你现在你现在想要开始，当然是很好的事情。他当时也是跟你差不多年纪的时候开始做游戏开发，那只是说一开始的时候就是不要想的太严肃或是太认真，就是重点是就是做你想要做的事情，做你想要玩的游戏，然后往你以后想要有兴趣前进的方向去发展。这样，那他当初在做的时候也没有想那么多，对，但是总之就是希望你可以继续努力。那如果你的 Scratch 的这个节奏医生版本，你愿意的话，你也可以提供给他玩，就是你可以跟他讲说哪一个版本是你的。对，那他说他很喜欢，如果他可以玩到你的版本的话，他也会很高兴。对，那就是如果你有需要的话，我们可以帮你转达，就是可以帮你把你的那个 Scratch 的版本可以给他看这样子。
谢谢。
Yeah, he says thanks.
Oh, 谢谢 Thank you. Thanks for the question, Sean.
Okay.
And good luck for your Scratch games.
祝你好运，希望以后游戏开发顺利。好，感谢。好。好，没关系。好，谢谢。好，那有没有其他问题？后面有一位，你也来前面好，因为这边才看得到，就是比较看得清楚你在哪边。
我直接用英文问了。
好，你直接用英文。
Hello. So I want to ask more about the licensing problem you've met, because you said when the game level becomes popular, you will ask for the license from the musician, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then how about the level designer, like the charters? Do you need to ask for their permission again? That kind of.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what we do is we will offer the level designer. So we'll contact both the artist and the level designer, and then we'll ask the level designer. We'll offer to pay them money to use their level in the game, and then sometimes we'll pay them more money to design it better or to make some changes for us. Because usually custom levels, when they become official levels, us as the game design team, we might want to change some stuff here and there. But yeah, so like I think legally, some games, like for Nintendo, for example, they have a clause where like anything you make in the level editor belongs to Nintendo, or something like that, and like we like, even though that might be true, we still want to compensate the level designers for their time. So we always offer to pay some amount to them. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Then how about if the level design contains non-authorized materials?
Oh no, I mean, if there's other unauthorized materials. Wait, do you mean like to make it an official level?
So if the game level becomes popular, you ask for both the musician and the level designers for permission to put it official level. Then what if the level designers material is using non-authorized material?
Okay. We haven't seen that before, but usually we would usually like get licensing for that material. Maybe it's like a video, or maybe it's like, sometimes rhythm game songs, like they come with a video. So we also pay the person who made the video to license that video as part of it as well. Yeah. Okay. So generally, if there's stuff that we can't get the license to, like, I don't know, like it uses SpongeBob or something, something huge that there's no way you can get a license to, then of course we would ask to like remove that part of the level before we license it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
OK， 我还是简单这个就是讲一下刚刚的问题，就是如果关卡设计里面，譬如是关卡设计，就是那谱面的元素，或者是说它谱面背后播的一些图片啊、影片，可能是其实是有版权疑虑的。哦，那这个他们当然在正式化成为官方版本之前，它一定是要么要取得权利，要么是要求它移除这样子。那刚刚有强调说，除了它会付费给音乐使用者之外，音乐制作人之外，它也会付给，就是说，当那个关卡那个谱面变成正式版的时候，它也会付，就是像是关卡谱面的费用给当初上传的那个人这样。好，还有没有其他问题？没关系，如果有的话，等一下再随时举手问。哦，OK， 好，这个 we have a question from Twitch actually， so 我开 Twitch 可能有点麻烦，因为会挡到荧幕。等一下。你要可以，就是收入的部分。So, one of the audience question on the Twitch was, are you making enough revenue from both of the games to support the current studio?
To support our studio right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, otherwise, I guess we would be bankrupt, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be continuing.
Yeah.
Unless you mean something else. Unless they mean something else, I'm not sure.
No, I think that's the question. So like, are you
you mean
comfortable?
Maybe
are you comfortable
maybe taking out?
Sorry,
maybe like they were expecting maybe like we have part-time jobs or something like that to support the studio. But no, so right now the studio is like self-sustaining, as in we can pay everyone who's involved in the game.
Okay, cool. 这样他们应该有听到了吗？对，就是目前确实就是营收状况是可以支撑工作室运作的。But how about when you were still developing the game? Because the years of development was so long. Like after after your graduation, like 2015, and then A Dance of Ice and Fire came out, I think, in 2018 or so, or something like that.
Early 19, January 19.
Yeah, early 19. So there was still like a 3-4 year gap. Like,
yeah.
So that was like just you just based on your savings, or?
No, so we actually got funding from Malaysian government and also the Peruvian government. So I think one of your questions in the email last time was how is the game dev scene in Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of it actually. So the government actually had people who are supportive. So they had a whole they had funding rounds, and like, you know, they had like, we would go for a competition, we'd pitch the game, and if you win, they'd fund your studio.
Right.
So we got money from that. Actually, it's the same thing in Peru. So Yakomo, there was also something like that in Peru, like a startup competition where like the winner would get funding.
Right.
So Yakomo also got funding on his side, and I also got funding on my side. So that helped us a lot.
That's the benefit of multinational team, right?
Yeah, you
can get both.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, it's funny because in Malaysia, like, the condition is like you must be at least like 50% Malaysian, the team.
Right.
And then in Peru, there was like, it has to be like 50% Peruvian. So it's like it balanced out for us, so we could both get our grants.
Okay, that's very tricky.
Yeah. But also like the government also helped us in other ways as well. So like, they gave us a co-working space, so we didn't have to rent any office. So we got a co-working space for free, and that was good because you could save money, but also because we got to meet all the other developers, all the other big indie developers in the country who are also working there. So the government basically took all of us and put us in the same office. and that was really helpful in a lot of ways for us.
So do you mean that office is for games only?
A space just for game development, for indie game development.
Okay.
So we each have one table, one set of tables. And
I see.
Like usually the other teams would have like 6 people in one table.
Right.
But then for me, it was just 2 of us because the rest of the people are international.
Right.
So like we share our table with some other developers. But yeah, so that kind of thing was really important because I think like if they didn't offer a co-working space for free, I probably would have thought like it's a waste of money. It's like why can't I just work at home,
Right.
So like I didn't see the benefit of a community until they offered it, and then I was able to experience it, and I thought, oh, then then the benefits were more like I could experience the benefits for myself. Like whenever I had a problem with coding, I can ask someone from the next table, or whenever I have some any kind of problem, like we can just help each other, and that was really important for us.
Yeah, this is a really good point because I think this is something Taiwanese government needs to work on. So
okay,
yeah,
I see.
Yeah, 还有其他问题吗？因为如果没有的话，其实时间也差不多，我们已经进行了90分钟了，所以 OK， 那就先这样咯。如果有人有问题的话，可以以后私下再 email 给就是 Hafiz。So I think the audience question was like okay for now. So we also already run for about 90 minutes. So yeah. I think it's a good time to conclude the event. And do you have any like parting thoughts on maybe give some general suggestions or
okay
yeah.
Like I do have some things. Number one is like whenever you have problems, don't be afraid to message message people on Twitter or email them, like other big game developers. Like even if they're really big, they do answer their emails. So like even if you email me, I will answer your email. So if you're having a problem, for example, like you're making some kind of special genre game, and someone who's more experienced, like don't be afraid to just email them. And like it's always helped for me. So like whenever I get stuck, sometimes I've talked to more experienced people. And it's important to remember that you can ask for help. And like usually, even if they might look busy, like they will like to answer your questions because number one, it's like it's an honor to receive a question. So like it's not something that wastes our time. Like it's really nice to receive questions, and it also helps us when we answer because when we answer, we get to put our thoughts into writing. And usually that process of putting what you think into writing helps us as much as it helps the person we are writing to. And I guess the other thing is beware of publishers. This is just a general thing. What I want to say is like when you meet the indie community and people like that, like it's nice to think that everyone is friendly because everyone is friendly. But things become different when there are big companies involved and there are money involved. And if you meet a publisher, they might try to convince you that you need them, even though you don't actually need them. And this is something like they would do intentionally. For example, like how publishers work? They have scouts. So these scouts will go and find games, and they'll find games to publish. If you were a scout for a big publisher and you saw a really good game, and like you knew that even without you, it would be successful, you might still be incentivized to tell them that they need you so that you can get a good deal with them. And if you get a good deal with them, everyone in your company will like you because you did your job as a scout. Even though at the base level, that game didn't really need you as a publisher. So it's I think it's like something I've been doing more of in the past few years is to try to think from other people's perspectives and think about what their motivations, what their incentives might be. Just before this, I would if someone offered help, if a publisher came to me, it's like, oh, we can help you. We'll just take 30% of your revenue, but we have all the connections in the industry, stuff like that. Like especially nowadays, you don't really need connections. Like there's a game called Friday Night Funkin', if you know that game. It's like a rhythm game. It's doing really well now. It's just started a Kickstarter. It's made like $1 million USD. Like they didn't have a publisher. They didn't need one. Same for us. We just uploaded our games to like the free demos online, and it was same with them. So like it just existed as free demo. And usually that kind of thing is more important than having someone who knows people, who knows people in Nintendo, knows people in Steam and stuff like that. Like that stuff isn't really as important these days as having a direct connection with your audience. So in general, if you're offered a publishing deal, something that will be really useful is for you to take that offer that they give you, and like I was saying earlier, just talk to other more experienced developers to advise you on whether it's a fair deal, whether you need them or not. So that's what I did when we got publishing offers. I luckily we were in a co-working space where we had more experienced developers, and I was able to talk to more people and show them, they want 50% of our game. Is that normal? And they can tell me, no, that's not normal. That's so ridiculous. Yeah, I think that's my two advice. Ask people for advice. Don't trust publishers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I guess that's a good good spot to end on, and I mean just thank you so much for willing to spend time and talk to us, and can I also announce the TGAF thing here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So 就是我之前也有邀请他直接来 TGDF 演讲，对，那他在 TGDF 演讲会，就是目前他是说有空啦，那他应该会比较 focus 在就是说比较具体游戏设计的细节上面的东西，在 TGDF 那边会讲比较细这样，对，所以我今天问的问题比较 general。Okay, so I guess that's.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you everyone for coming.
拍个手，谢谢。
For all your time. Thanks, we appreciate it. Thanks, Johnson, for translating everything. I'm actually really impressed that you can translate for like 5 minutes at a time, because like I probably wouldn't even remember like 2 sentences.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I missed some things.
But I guess you've been doing this for 10 years.
We have recordings, so that's fine.
Really good at it.
Yeah, we have recordings.
Sorry?
We have recordings.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's
okay.
Yeah, so if I missed something really important, like we can still like make up, afterwards.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
that's always good to know. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Johnson, for having me.
Okay,
see you at TGDF, I guess.
Yeah, see you in July.
Sai Chen. Okay.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Thank you. Dun dun.